Welcome back to Retro Wednesday. It's Titanium Hanger, and today I am super excited about the information that's come out about this Eternia playset. We are going to be in a crowdfund. I'm going to talk about the time frame, the price. Yes, it's at the top of the price range, and I'm going to talk about everything about this, but I am super excited about this, getting the opportunity to actually own this massive, very expensive playset if you get the original vintage one. We're going to talk about all of the details, everything that has been announced so far from Mattel officially on Mattel Creations. Coming up. Okay, so first of all, I want to say that in SDCC, they had an amazing display. Mattel took the show with this amazing display, this diorama setup. And NECA's Turtles might have been better, might rival this. Between the two of them, those were the greatest parts of SDCC in my opinion. And ever since then, I've been making room to accommodate this. That's a big thing, a big point that you have to figure out. It is 4 foot wide by 3 foot tall, and so with that, that's kind of the monorail, so you really need to make sure that you have a base for it at the 4 foot wide or a little bit less than that. At the end of the day, I'm still going to have to make modifications when it comes in to make sure it fits everything just right and just perfect for my own display. But that's the first thing you need to think about before even thinking about financing it. What are you going to do with it? Where are you going to put it? You don't really just want to buy it, keep it in the box. But then again, the box art is going to look very similar to the original, and it's going to look amazing. It's going to have a huge footprint, but this thing just looks so fantastic. There's so many new pictures. This kind of shows the included figure, which we're going to talk about here in just a little bit. I have some theories and thoughts about that right there, but it looks fantastic. A working monorail. I'm getting a vintage one. We're going to even talk about prices on vintage ones and how outrageous they are, but getting a vintage one is over $1,000 for one, missing everything, and then up to $4,000 for a complete one, still broken. So, yeah, this is really an awesome opportunity to get this thing. Now, I don't really know all of the original features. Like, this drawbridge kind of thing, this gate thing, was that part of the original? I don't know. But it's cool feature that you kind of have a jail cell there. So that's pretty interesting. It was very 80s to have some sort of a jail cell for every one of them, but it looks amazing. This tower over here. Now, I've personally seen an original one, just the 3 towers. That's all I've ever seen original ones, the 3 towers. And everybody always wants between $300 and $500 just for bare bones towers missing every single part. And so with that, I haven't ever seen one that's set up and complete. So this is something for me, a milestone, to actually own one of these. And here we go with another one of the towers. So looking at the tracks, now I believe that these are going to have sturdier tracks since I've never, of course, even seen one set up in real life. I don't know about these tracks. I hear they're really brittle and fragile, and it's a big problem. And then if you ever set it up and take it apart, you are guaranteed to break it taking it apart. So I'm hoping that they fix all that and re-engineer all of that with a modern one. But I do want to point out versus the vintage ones, because I have seen these towers in person. It seems like this set, the colors are brighter and more vibrant, and that's kind of been how Origins has been going all along. Now, there are some cool features, which I still think, I don't know what was a vintage feature and what's not a vintage feature, but I think this was a feature on the vintage one where you have the jaw open and the arms, and then the arms close, open and close, and open and close, and open and close, and all that kind of stuff. So, kind of a fun bit there. Now, I'm starting to think about the way I set this up. I might set it up, I'm going to try to get a giant Lazy Susan so I can rotate it around and it's not static. So that's where my problem is. I want it elevated and I want it on a Lazy Susan so I can rotate it all the way around, which is massive. So it's going to be kind of an industrial kind of thing, but still, I might not be able to pull that off, but that's my idea right now. I got a year and a half because it won't come out for a year and a half from now. Now, one thing that I started doing the day of SDCC is just for fun, looking at completeds and what's coming up on eBay for the original one. And one of the hardest parts to get is a working one of these. So to get a working one of these, whatever you want to call these, this motorized compartment here, which actually you have a couple of different options to use with it. But to get a working one for the vintage is as much, if not more, than buying this whole set. So in my mind, I was like, hey, you know what? I could get a used one missing about 20% of the parts for about $1,200, but it didn't come with a working one of these, so there's like another $500 or $600. So yeah, that was a big point of contention, is trying to get one of these working from the vintage era. So this picture here kind of shows the angles and the different movement of the snake head and that kind of stuff. So you know, one thing in my mind, this is cool, but how can you incorporate your Snake Mountain with this? You could probably put it behind it or aside, like next to it, and then on the other side put your Castle Grayskull. That would make for an amazing display, which is kind of how I'm trying to set my display up. Here it looks from the back and from the rear. So, see, I'm learning a lot more about this playset, like that ramp. Like, people want like $50 to $70 just for that ramp right there on the original ones. So, starting to look at original ones, like, I almost pulled the trigger on one for about $1,200, and I said, nope, I'm waiting for Mattel. Because once this news broke, people started fire selling theirs, especially if theirs were broken and missing parts and this and that. And the complete ones, though, people still want their $4,000. But we're going to look at that, too, here in a little bit. But from the back, you see all the play features, you see those flags, and getting those flags is a hard thing on the original one. So this thing just looks fantastic, and I'm so excited for it because it's just one of those things I wrote off as I'll never be able to own it, kind of like I sort of wrote off the old Thundercats Cat Slayer, right? I'll never be able to own it either. This is some sort of a training kind of drone here, and it's kind of cool. So they've got some weapons on the wall from different characters, like a recolored version of Ninjor's bow and arrow and that kind of stuff. And I guess they're going to be training on a horde trooper, so that's kind of cool. Kind of interesting, lots of fun. I think there's a magnet or some sort of magnet system that moves it around, so that's a cool looking feature. You have a working elevator to go up and down, which is awesome. Now, because I don't know if you just slide it manually or there's it looks like there's a rolling thing to roll it up and down, so I don't know how that works. Still, all this really cool, amazing stuff. I am super excited and super stoked for this. He-Man. There he is, flying around on this. So this is one of the different options, and I couldn't snag the picture of the other option to use with this, but it is still really, really cool. I didn't even know this existed. Maybe this is something new that didn't come with the vintage one. Still really awesome. Then we're into King Grayskull. Now, what I want to say about King Grayskull is, I got a lot to say. Number one, he's an early bird unlock. So if this goes live on October 12th, if you end up backing this before the 19th, so from the 12th to the 19th, so that's the first week or so, the first week you get an early bird exclusive, which is this guy. So that's something different than early birds we've seen with HasLab, which is funny because this couldn't have come at a better time. I mean, I'm working on a HasLab video, but this thing here, this figure, is going to be exclusive to the set. But I personally think they're going to make him again for retail, but he'll be different. There'll be something different. It'll be more of a classic design, more of a classic look, and this is more of a Masterverse look. Now time for the nitty-gritty details. So this thing's going to cost $550. Launches October 12th. And the thing about it is that 9 a.m. This thing for $550 plus tax, plus you're going to find in a little bit there's a $50 fee. It's a shipping fee. Now, I don't know if they'll only charge one or charge per item. I'm planning on buying 3. And the thing about this is that I want to get it backed, and I want to get one to keep sealed, one to open up and put in my display, and one more, and I'm not going to lie, I'll sell it down the road. See, backers are willing these into existence. If you back this, if you buy this, if you pay now and wait a year and a half, you will it into existence, and they usually sell for double, triple what you paid for it. And that's the thing. All the people right now that are complaining, saying, oh, $550 is too much. I thought it would be $400, but it's not $400. We live in 2022. We don't live in 2019. So it's not $400, and for that, I have to accept that price. I have to accept it, move on at the $550 plus tax and all that kind of stuff, and plus the $50 shipping fee. So at the end of the day, they're not going to tax that $50 shipping fee, I think, but it's still quite a bit of money. I don't know if I can swing 3 like I originally planned. Okay, so Masters Universe Origins playset is going to be included in this. It's going to be 3 foot by 4 foot in epic display, working battle tram, elevators, trapdoors, and more. King Grayskull has 16 points of articulation, special edition character available for the Crusaders who brave the crowdfund during the first week. So, if you back this week 1, in that week 1, if you want it, you will not be charged until the funding is over. So, and that's going to be sometime in November. I think November 19th is what they said. But again, we'll have more information starting on the 12th. On the 12th, you know the exact dates for all this stuff. Now, early bird backer bonus, you'd lock in that King Grayskull figure. He's going to be shipped separately from the set. So it's going to be 2 separate shipments to you. If you lock it in now, you'll probably get that King Grayskull months before you get the set. Because a figure's a lot easier to create than this, obviously. And then the iconic playset is an ultimate tribute to the everlasting battle between the good and evil. But we can't do it without your help, so share the crowdfund with your fellow family. Why is this a crowdfund? Why is it? I wanted to see this at retail. And this it hits home to what Hasbro did with their Hasbro HasLab in the early days of the Cell Barge. And I'm going to make a video about that. But the thing about this is that in 2022, we just can't have this on retail shelves. Retailers don't want it, and the fact that a lot of the big play sets didn't really sell well. Now, people are trying to say Grayskull didn't sell well. No, it sold okay. It sold well. It sold extremely well in the secondary market. They had to do a second production run of the Grayskull, and that's why it seems like we're flooded in the market right now because of the second production run. The first run sold out so fast, instantaneously everywhere as soon as it showed up, and even Walmart's didn't know what to do with it because it was so big. They stuck it on the Lego aisle, so there were a lot of problems around the Castle Grayskull. But at retail, I was thinking they could get this out at $2.99 at retail. Problem is, they're not going to sell 30,000 of these. There's not 30,000 people out there that want it. So probably the 5,000 that they need 5,000 backers, the 5,000 is probably all that would sell at retail, and then the other 25,000 would go to clearance, which sounds great for collectors, but it's a loss for businesses, and businesses aren't in business to make a loss. They're in business to make a profit. So yes, I understand. The $550 or $600 is the top of my price point, and I was saying I'd at least get 2 at $600, but if it was $400, I'd buy 3. So, I mean, looking at this, I'm still going to figure out if I can financially swing 3, because I would like to do that. I would like to help out the future. You cannot scalp something that's unlimited. So if I wanted to order 50 of these or 600 of these, I can. So again, it's not limited. When you scalp, you're buying, there's only 4 available that show up in your Walmart ever of something. You buy all 4 of them, and then you ask 6 times the amount on eBay. That's scalping. Buying this, you're willing it into existence. You are financing it into existence, and you deserve to reap the rewards if you choose to do that. And I really don't have any problem with that. And that's why if I want to buy a Sentinel, a HasLab Sentinel, I'm going to have to pay $700. So, all the people that are saying it's too much, they're gouging us and all this. By the way, you're probably right, but you have to accept reality. Reality is they're not going to fold. They're not going to say, okay, well, if you get to 8,000, we're going to knock off another 50. When you get to 12,000, we're going to knock off another 50. Before we know it, it's down to 300. It's not going to happen. And seeing that $150 set of 4 He-Mans, they're all the same exact mold, $400, that told me that this was going to be more than the 400 that I was hoping for. So now go buy yourself a vintage one. $1,900. Best I've seen is about $1,125, and that's an auction that runs. You have to wait 7-9 days and hope you're there at the right time to bid and hope you win it, and maybe you win it, and then you're winning one that's broken, missing 40% of the parts. Then you have to spend another $1,000 chasing those parts, but then again, you don't have a working tram. So $1,900 is the cheapest, $3,900, and that's crazy. All right, so whoever has this listing, if you're watching my video, that would be so much fun if you just commented down below, whatever you feel like commenting. I hate you, Mike. I get a lot of that. But so with this thing is not complete at $1,900. Of course, they'll take a best offer. And the tracks, they're missing tracks. A couple of the tracks are broken. This is as close to complete as you can get for the cheapest amount of price on eBay right now at $1,900. Now, maybe you offer 15 and they take it, or maybe you offer 12 and they take it. But then you're looking at least another $1,000 or more to get this completed down the road. Now you can buy a repro track, and there's a lot of stuff you can do, but chasing down all the little parts and pieces, and you do get a Centurion part in there. There's a Centurion part, that yellow piece is Centurion's. I don't know if that the tram works and all that kind of stuff. So my point here is that if we do not fund this, then people like myself and most people will just never have an Eternia, because nobody. I don't want to pony up $1,900 plus 121 shipping. I don't want to do that. What I would like, hey, if you want to offer this guy $200, see what he takes. I doubt he'll take it. I doubt, or she offer her $200. I doubt she'll take it. So at the end of the day, we don't live in the 80s anymore, but we want to bring it back. And this is a picture of the 80s, some sort of picture floating around on the internet these days. 89.97. So it's under $100 for this thing. This was cheaper than the flag. And so we don't live in that world anymore. Now, if you were to say inflation takes it up to $200, maybe $300, then this isn't fair anymore. But how many of this was produced? Nobody really knows. People believe there were only 4,000 of those produced. And I bet Mattel took a loss on this back in the day, and I'm sure there's some sort of record of it. So I don't know what you guys think in the comments below. Are you in on this for $550 plus 50 service charge, shipping, delivery, or whatever? If we buy 3, will they combine that into one $50 service charge, or will that be $150 service charge? And I didn't even talk about it, but will the payment program, which I'm going to try to use, work on this? Lots of questions. Let me know in the comments below. Like and subscribe. Teddy Hanger out.